The Apex, the hardcore's favorite, is this weekend. It's a horrible card. It's bad. There's a few decent fights, some interesting matches, but man, it's a bad card. So I'm going to make a video making my picks and predictions still for the card. Yeah. We love it. We love watching these bad cards every freaking weekend because some of us have nothing better to do. That would be me. Some of us are losers. Nonetheless, though, guys, Brandon Royavl Manel Kape's a pretty sick fight. The main event, we got a co-main event between Giga Chikadze and the surging Kevin Vallejos. He keeps saying we on Twitter. I enjoy his tweets. Yaroslav Amosov, debuting in the UFC, one of the best outside of the UFC guys that there is, and he's taking on the world beater himself, Neil Magny. So let's go ahead and get right into this card, make some picks and predictions, and let's enjoy these horrible fights this weekend because that's what we do as UFC fans. Be honest with you guys, call me a casual, I'm skipping the first 4 fights. I absolutely don't care. None of them are really prospects. I don't care. And I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be. So we're starting off with what should probably either be the feature or co-main event. We have Neil Magny taking on Yaroslav Amosov, the Ukrainian, coming out of Bellator, very highly valued to many hardcore fans, yo. Excuse me. I'm going to be honest. Neil Magny is winning this fight. It's really that simple. Neil Magny is going to win this fight. I don't trust none of these Bellator boys. None of these outside of the UFC already have a lot of fights saying they're the best. They just never pan out. They just don't. And I'm sorry, but I've watched the guy fight. He's a very basic striker. I know he was undefeated until he got chinned by Jason Jackson. But Jason Jackson, he's decent, but he's not that good at all. He had a slight reach and kind of just a bigger frame advantage compared to Amosov. And with not that crazy good striking, was able to pick apart Amosov at range and time his shots, find his chin, and just beat up Amosov that entire fight. He attacked the legs. And while Amosov, he's primarily a grappler and he has shown really good wrestling, I don't trust it against Magny. He wasn't able to land any against Jason Jackson. He's kept it close with a guy, Logan Storley, who's another pretty basic wrestler. Decent, not great. He's over in PFL. Beat Douglas Lima, but all you got to do to beat Douglas Lima is grapple him, really. I just don't trust this guy at all. Neil Magny, while he has been losing his wins early in the fight, like his last outing against Jake Matthews, getting the finish towards the end, I trust him in this fight to win a decision. 29-28, 30-27. I think he can defend the takedowns of Amosov pretty easily. He's a very good scrambler, creative, crafty on the ground. He's good at rolling through things. I just don't think Amosov's going to be able to hold him on his back. And I think, honestly, Magny has the advantage on the feet because of the range. I think that'll be a big part. I think he'll be able to land some pretty solid, sharp strikes against Amosov. Amosov, he primarily shoots in the middle of the cage, doubles and singles. And even when he gets guys up against the cage, his trips aren't the best. He's a decent fighter. I think he can win against some UFC guys. But Neil Magny, who arguably should be in the top 15, he's a really good welterweight, a veteran of the sport, been in the UFC a long time. I trust him way more in this fight, and skill-wise, I just think he is better, and I think he matches up well against Amosov. I'm going to pick him by decision. I could see a late-round submission finish for Neil Magny, maybe Amosov getting the first round. But I think on the feet, if Magny mixes up some inside low kicks, manages the range well, lands some rangy strikes on him, I think he can bust him up on the feet as well. Amosov's not, he has very basic fundamental striking, keeps his head on the center line way too often, no head movement whatsoever. I think Magny is going to be able to land strikes at range and catch him at the end of punches that really bust up Amosov. And I just don't see Amosov holding down Magny at all in this fight. I think he's too good on the ground, too crafty, too many fights in the UFC. I'm taking Neil Magny by decision. I know a lot of people are high on Amosov. I think he's all right. I think he's pretty good. He's good for outside the UFC. But he's facing a top 20, top 25 guy in Neil Magny. And he's been a staple of the welterweight division forever. Highly skilled on the ground. I think it's too much on a debut in the UFC for Amosov. I don't think he has the skill to close the gap with Magny. I don't think he's good enough pressuring on the wrestling to hold him down. So I'm taking Neil Magny, man. Neil Magny, the crafty veteran, man. You got to take him in this fight. I'm telling you. I wonder what the odds are. Are they showing? No. I may look at the odds in that fight. Moving on to Joanderson Brito. He's a marauder, guys. He is a marauder. Comes out super fast and explosive. Taking on a guy, Isaac Thompson, coming out of LFA, I believe. Not a horrible prospect. I watched some of his fights. He's taking this fight on like less than a week's notice. Let me get a swig. Want a Sprite Cranberry, 0 sugar? Want a Sprite Cranberry? I'm taking Joanderson Brito. Thompson, skill-wise, he's pretty solid, man. Pretty well-rounded, has a good grappling game, he's a good counter-striker, light on the feet. He's very frail, though. Not, like, physically and, like, strength-wise, he's at a huge disadvantage here against Brito. I think the physicality, the aggression, the strength, the, like, toughness of Brito is going to be too much in this fight. The aggression, I don't think Thompson will be able to counter-strike a guy against Brito. Brito has very good low leg kicks, busted up Jack Shore and got the fight stopped with them. I just think the pressure will be way too much. I think Brito will outdamage him clearly. I think it'll be just the pressure on Thompson and being on the back foot, getting pressed up against the cage. Brito will grind on him there, shoot to the hips, probably not get a takedown, but he'll grind up on there, land some dirty boxing. Just Thompson, he's not bad at all. I can't take a guy that short notice. Recently got a close split decision win over a physical Uzbekistani, kind of like Dagas, like typical Caucasus region wrestler type of guy from that region. People forget, man, Joanderson Brito beat Diego Lopez on the Contender Series. He also has wins over Chepe Mariscal, Andre Fili. Had a really close fight with William Gomez. That was a close fight. You could have skilled that, or you could have scored that either way. I'm going to take Brito by second round TKO. I think Thompson will be able to survive. He's pretty tough. He's just way too frail, and the physicality and aggression is just going to be way too much for Brito, I think. Like, Thompson is like a karate-style guy. Funny, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I just don't see it at all. I don't see a way for Thompson to win. He doesn't have power, no true finishing ability, and he's not going to outpoint a guy in Brito who's just going to keep coming forward with that big old shark tattoo on his back, man. He's a new age marauder. He's fun to watch. I think he's going to take the fight to him and get a finish in the second round. Moving on to Amanda Lemos and Jillian Robertson. I'm taking Jillian Robertson. I just don't trust Lemos anymore. She gets tired as the fight goes. Jillian has improved her ground game tremendously, even though it was good before, but now it's really dominant. I think she shoots early, gets her to the ground, and when you get Lemos to the ground and put her on her back, she gasses out pretty early. The power on the feet does worry me quite a bit, but I think as long as Robertson gets a good amount of control time in the first, that pretty much goes out the window with Lemos at this point in her career. Jillian, she has pretty dang good ground and pound for WMMA. Solid submission game as well. I don't think she may get a late third-round finish against Lemos, but I'm going to take Robertson by an easy 30-27 decision win. Lemos will have an advantage for sure skill-wise on the feet, but Jillian, with just the dominance she's shown on the ground, I think it's going to be too much for Lemos. I think she'll tire pretty early, too, just with Robertson putting on her back and grinding up. Grinding her to the ground and stuff like that. I just think she'll be too much on the ground, too much pressure. Lemos is... How old is Lemos? Does it show the age on here? I don't know. She's kind of older. Jillian surging on a win streak. I like her in this fight. I do worry maybe she gets caught in like a guillotine or something, but her skill level she's shown on the ground is very impressive for WMMA. So I'm going to take Jillian Robertson by decision. Moving on to a catchweight bout with Bobby King Green, man. Lance Gibson Jr. Lance Gibson Jr. is big, strong, and athletic. Could hardly find any fights to watch of this guy. Making like a 2-day notice debut in the UFC. Catchweight bout. He's pretty big. I bet he still has to cut a lot of weight. He seems powerful, but skill-wise, he just has none, really. I mean, he can kind of grapple. Super basic boxing on the feet. Very sloppy low leg kicks. Doesn't mix it up whatsoever. I do worry that he could catch King Green on the chin just because Bobby's been so glass chinny lately. Chinny chin chin. But I'm going to trust Bobby Green to go out there. He's very quick. Pretty responsible on the feet. I know he keeps the hands low, but he moves his head well. I think I'm gonna trust a veteran in the UFC, guy in Bobby who has pretty solid, good skills on the feet, quick guy, athletic. I'm gonna take him by decision. I don't know, maybe he finishes him, but Lance Gibson's not good, man, and it will be a shame if he somehow chins Bobby in this fight. I'll be very disappointed for Bobby. And, Bobby, he has pretty decent takedown defense against guys who aren't like the highest level of grapplers. Lance Gibson Jr. is not a high-level grappler whatsoever. I just hope Bobby doesn't get chinned. But I think he works him on the feet, mixes in the kicks as the fight goes, way more sharp with his hands. I think he'll just land a bunch of shots consistently throughout the fight. And Gibson, who's not very good, making his debut against a guy, I think he'll be kind of tentative, and I think Green will just be able to piece him up with the hands. I think it'll be too much for Gibson, who's not that good at all. King Green's a solid, quick, snappy boxer on the feet. And Gibson Jr. is pretty slow as well. I think that'll be a big advantage for Green in this fight. Give me Bobby Green. Decision win. Possibly a finish. Moving on to Kennedy Nzechukwu and Marcus Buchecha. People forget, man. Kennedy Nzechukwu beat Carlos Alberg. Buchecha, high-level submission grappler. Mainly a gi guy, though. Fought against Martin Buday in his debut. Very sloppy fight. Really wasn't able to do anything on the ground or get the fight there to any dominant positions. Kennedy, he was a light heavyweight. Pretty agile on the feet, especially for a heavyweight. Quicker. He has a repertoire of weapons, especially for heavyweight, on the feet. Even though his cage IQ is super low, kind of just throws randomly. But I think Nzechukwu, being the much more athletic guy speed-wise, I think he'll have enough to mitigate the grappling in this fight and bust Buchecha up on the feet, who's very sloppy on the feet, doesn't even have skill there whatsoever. I'm going to trust the guy Nzechukwu, who's been in the UFC a while at this point, has shown finishing ability, powerful, quick on the feet. I'm going to take Nzechukwu by second round KO. I think Buchecha can maybe grind him up against the fence a little bit in the first part, shoot for some takedowns, maybe get it to the ground. But Buchecha, he did not have a good gas tank whatsoever in that first fight. In Nzechukwu, you're going to be at a much higher pace with a quicker guy like that at heavyweight. I say Kennedy finishes him pretty easy in the second round. I don't think this is a close fight, honestly. I really don't. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about this fight. And Nzechukwu, he throws from the hips a little bit. Pretty powerful. I think he just chins him in the second round. It's pretty simple. Moving on to Melquichael Costa. Me and him are, we're blood brothers. We got the same disease, vitiligo. Luckily, I haven't been covered in it like he has, but, he's still an OG. I support you, Costa. Taking on Morgan Charrier, who's looked pretty good in the UFC. Very quick and explosive on the feet. Primarily a boxer. Likes to get up tight and close. Mix in combinations. Costa, who's, I would say, more well-rounded for sure, especially on the ground. Has much more of a submission game for sure. Likes to strike more at range. Uses more lengthy build compared to most featherweights to strike. But I am going to take Morgan Charrier by decision. I think this is going to be a really good close scrap. But I think Charrier is going to have more big moments in the fight. Getting inside with the range, or getting inside of Costa with his speed. And his build, he's very square. So he's very good at dipping under kind of the range of longer guys like Costa. and busting guys up. I do, on the ground, though, I think Costa could pull off a submission. But Charrier has showed better grappling as he's progressed in his UFC career. Wrestling-wise, he's not bad. Submission, jiu-jitsu-wise, like those scrambles, I do worry about in this fight. However, I just, like, with a guy like Charrier and Costa fighting, Charrier, he's going to explode more and land the bigger shots, I think. Costa, I think, will have a little trouble hitting Charrier just with how much he moves and how quick he is. I think it'll be a good, close scrap. Good fight, but I'm going to take Morgan Charrier. This was a tough fight for me to pick, but I trust Charrier to have more bigger moments in this fight to get it done on the judges' scorecards. Moving on to Cesar Almeida and Cesare Oleszejczyk. The younger brother of Mikhail Oleszejczyk had a sick knockout on the Dana White Contender Series. Taking on Cesar Almeida, a guy who knocked out Alex Poetin Pereira. In kickboxing, I'm taking Cesare Oleszejczyk. Cesar Almeida, ever since he's made the transition over to the UFC and MMA, just hasn't impressed me. Dude has really good power, but he stands really, like, flat-footed. Doesn't have much bounce in his movement at all. Doesn't move his head all that great either, which is weird for, like, a kickboxer background. Cesare Oleszejczyk, he is a powerful guy. Very good boxing. He is not like, scared of what's coming back at him from what I've seen in his fights. I think he's just going to be able to pressure Almeida, and I think he finishes him. I think this could be one of those, like, first round, like, both guys get a knockdown and Cesare finishes him late in the first. I just like his head movement and defensive responsibility, covering up, getting on the inside of Cesar Almeida, and I think he just finds the chin early in the first. Almeida hasn't, like, in his last fight against a guy who's not very good, I forget his name, Abdul Ramazakamek is his last name or something like that, got dropped early, and if it wasn't for him absolutely flatlining him towards the end of the round, I think he would have lost that fight. He was getting pressured up against the fence. He didn't like that at all, and I think that's what Cesare will do. He'll get on the gas early, use that boxing to find the chin of Almeida. And Almeida, like, with the high-level kickboxing background, his defense has not looked that good whatsoever. Maybe even Cesare decides to mix up the grappling. I doubt it. But he's pretty accurate on the feet as well. I think he'll find the shots to finish Cesar Almeida in the first round. Moving on to the co-main event, Giga Chikadze and Kevin Vallejos. This was a really tough fight for me to pick. I think Vallejos is good. I do. And I was leaning towards picking Giga. I really was. I thought the range would be difficult for Vallejos. Giga, even though he lost to Onama, had a lot of success on the feet. Vallejos, he's a decent grappler, doesn't usually use it. But I am going to take Vallejos by decision. I think Giga will get around on him, and this could be kind of close. But I think with the height disadvantage of Vallejos compared to Giga has looked a little less powerful after each and every fight in his last few outings. So I don't think he'll be able to finish Vallejos. He has a very good chin. Went 3 rounds with John Silva, kept it really close on the Contender Series. He's super tough, and I think he can hurt Giga to the body. I think it's going to be easy for him to get to the inside. Giga keeps his hands down quite a bit. He is a bit of a sniper, but he seems to be a little slower as he's been aging in the UFC. And I think Vallejos, as this fight goes on, as long as he keeps Giga on the back foot and mixes up combinations, throws the lead leg kick, works the body, then moves up to the top, to the head, and starts finding his punches there, I think Vallejos is going to win this fight. I think it'll be kind of a close 29-28 decision win for Vallejos. But I am going to pick him. I trust him in this fight. Younger guy, very tough, solid striking on the feet. Really good boxing. Very good chin as well. I don't think Giga will be able to do visible damage to Vallejos, and I think as this fight goes on, Vallejos will be able to do visible damage to Giga and win it on the scorecards. Moving on to the main event of the evening, Brandon Raw Dog Royavl taking on Manel Kape. Another fight that was kind of hard for me to pick. I was kind of leaning towards Kape at first, just with his explosion and how well he does pinpointing shots. And he has pretty solid finishing ability for flyweight. But Brandon Royval is really tough. he is going to bring the fight to Kape. I don't think Kape will be able to dance around the octagon like he usually does and explode into some of these combinations that he does to outdo his opponents. He's kept it close with guys who aren't even in the top 15 of the flyweight. And Kape, his fight against Asul Mayabeev, he practically cheated, man. He just kept eye gouging him. And I think Royavl, he'll get that jab going, have Kape he'll have Kape very hesitant to enter with his explosive his explosive combinations. Well, I do think Kape can defend a lot of the takedowns, and he's not a bad grappler at all. I think Royavl could mix in the wrestling as well, put Kape on his back. But I think the pressure experience, the high level that Brandon Royavl has fought on for so long for this point in his career, I think it'll be too much for Kape, especially going over 5 rounds. Maybe Kape looks like he's doing good early in those first 2 rounds, but as that fight progresses, I don't think he'll be able to finish Royavl, especially if Royavl is landing that jab and those sharp, straight shots that he throws right down the middle. I think as this fight progresses, Royavl, he keeps a really solid, fast, cardio-pushing pace. I don't think Kape will like that, especially in that 5-round setting, man. I think he mixes it up and gets it done by decision, like 48-47, 49-46, Kape getting one of those 2 first early rounds with maybe a big moment or 2. But I think as this fight progresses, Royavl, he's very slick on the feet. Even though Joshua Van, he is the better boxer, and that's why he won that last fight, was able to find the counters. Kape, technically wise, he is not the best. He just explodes into these multiple powerful striking combinations, and I think Royavl, he's been in the game so long, I think he'll mitigate that quite a bit moving forward in the fight as the fight progresses. With those lengthy, rangy shots, he'll work the legs of Kape. I think Kape will tire after those first 2 rounds, so I'm going Brandon Royavl. Anyway, guys, that is today's picks and predictions video for UFC Fight Night. Brandon Royavl, Manel Kape. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to kind of make it a little shorter video because I didn't feel the need to dive too deep into these fights. It's not the hugest card. It's a pretty bad card. But I hope you guys still enjoyed this video. I hope you watched all the way through. Thank you if you've watched all the way through. I love you. Please like this video, and please drop a comment below where you agree or disagree with my picks, or you just got something nice to say, or something mean to say. Comments help in general, so, good. All press is good press, as they say. Nevertheless, though, guys, that is it for today's video. Please subscribe to C Null MMA. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good weekend. Hope you enjoy this crappy fight night like I will.